Well, good morning to you. Still trying to get my house in order here. Just cleaning some things up on this Tuesday morning. It is, by the way, in case you missed it, and it's easy to miss it, today is the very first day of fall. And we have a tropical storm that we're watching. Welcome to Southeast Texas, right? I mean, that's just the way it is. It always seems like we've got something going on. But I'm not watching fall foliage. I'm not looking out the window going, oh, the trees are turning. It's fall. But, again, that's a calendar, right? That's all it is. It's a calendar, and it's a calendar date that's out there. Hi, everybody. I'm Dan Gresham. This is my house, and I'm glad to be in your house as well. This is our at-home update. And again, as I say all the time, don't confuse this with being a television newscast, because it's not. That's not what we're doing here. This is a casual, very casual look at what's happening in the headlines, because I'm home. I mean, I should probably take the tie off and all, but I just haven't had time. I'll walk in the door, put some things together, and then I want to get to our community that we've created here on KFDM's Facebook page. Do want to start the day by reminding you, though, you can jump in, make a comment, tell me what you're interested in, tell me what's going on at your house, tell me where you're watching from, express a concern for your neighborhood, whatever it might be, and you just post it in the comments just like you would if you were posting a comment on any other Facebook post. I'll show you. For example, I always love them when you get some good ones. Let me get rid of this so you can see that. There's Nancy. Warner Caron with googly eyes coming up this morning. Joanne Tripp is here. Chase on, always good morning to you as well. Mary, good morning. Daisy Zamora checking in this morning. Andrew Gobert says, what's going on down in Texas? Well, Andrew, I'm not sure. Oh, you're watching over in Houston, maybe? I'm not sure where you're watching. But down in Texas, the focus is still on Tropical Storm Beta. And again, the thing being that none of us believe it's going to be a terrible, horrendous storm. But the fact is, Imelda snuck up on us. So I think we all kind of, anytime you've got a tropical storm, and then you throw in the most dangerous word of all to me when you're talking about tropical systems, stall. Oh, it's going to stall out. Then that perks my ears up. It's like, really? Stall out where? Stall out for how long? What does that mean exactly? So let me take you straight to the KFDM Facebook page, which is where you're at right now. You can go in. Dana has updated the forecast, but you can also go in, see some of the situation that's unfolding this morning over in Houston, some of the flooded streets over there. And they had flash flood watches out all morning long. And if we go back over to the KFDM page, in the tool I showed you yesterday that can be very valuable, whether it's a tropical situation or if it's just, a daily thunderstorm and you want to know what's going on, is to go to the weather tab. Under the weather tab, you get the forecast, right? But then there's interactive radar. If you click on interactive radar, now you've got a good handle of exactly what's going on. You can start to see some of that rain build up over the Triangle, Orange County. Early this morning, some pretty good showers coming up, but these outer bands creeping ever closer. And again, the concern that you will have from most meteorologists, what they'll tell you is these long bands of rain, if it stalls out, let's say my understanding is it's here around Victoria right now. So the water is wrapping up around that. And if it stalls and you get one of these long train running bands here, it stretches out in the Gulf and all the way through Houston proper, and it doesn't move, that's when you get the accumulation. As long as there's a forward progress and it's moving, you're going to get some rain, but you're not going to get 10, 15 inches of rain, which is what you can get if one of these bands stalls out around you. Let's zoom in a little bit closer and you can kind of see what's going on. Houston, all morning long, it has been a good and steady rain for them, creating some of those problems. Now you get over again into the Golden Triangle, into Jefferson, Chambers, Orange, Tyler, Hardin, Newton, Jasper. Actually, some of the folks up in Jasper may have gotten more rain yesterday than we got in the southern part of the area. Didn't get that much. Haven't had that much this morning, but you get the feeling that's about to change as these bands continue, like I said, to creep on towards the east, that we may be seeing some of that rain sooner or later. I want to show you, we always talk about great tools to have. This morning on the morning show, we used it. I'll show you how you can use it. This is Houston Transtar. This is a website. I'll take you to the home pages first. The home page gives you all the different information that you need. Then it brings up all the cameras that they have located in Houston. And you can do the same thing at your house. Oh, I want to see what's happening I-10 in Katy. I want to see what's going on I-10 eastbound. This has been a place of a lot of action all morning long, is this one right here. And you can zoom in on them at home if you want to. You can see the camera direction, the map, but you can also go back to the top of the page here and it says traffic conditions, and it will show you a traffic map. So if you happen to be heading to Houston and you're concerned, oh, I've got to go to a doctor's visit, I've got, the kids, whatever it happens to be, that you can go and you can see every one of these will tell you, look, high water. This is 45 south. And you can see it just runs the whole length there. Earlier this morning, 288 and 69. That was an issue this morning. You see another high water issue going on here. Where you see the raindrops, that's where you have a problem. Those are road closures. That's the Beltway 8 south. So now I can come back if I want to the cameras and we look for Beltway 8 south. And there it is. There's the camera. And you can see on the right side there's a whole list of cameras that you can run through all over town and see what the situation is. They also extend this out beyond Houston, and you can look at cameras that also happen to be here in Southeast Texas as well. But at this point, there's really no need to do that because here in Southeast Texas, for the most part, you're talking about some pretty clear roads. Yeah, there's probably some pooling going on in some places, water standing, but none of it real significant because we just haven't had the rainfall. Now, we have had a few winds this morning. We 40-mile-an-hour winds down at Sabine Pass. We had some in mid-county, and that's to be expected. You got a tropical storm, that's out there that you're dealing with. You're going to get some of those winds, but we don't expect them to be anything that's going to present a problem. Not necessary to run outside, bring all the patio furniture in, I don't think, unless you just feel uncomfortable with it and you want to do it. But necessary? Probably not. Leanne Mitchell said, I wasn't ready for the music. Well, Leanne, the music is your way to know, hey, we're about to come on with the update. I don't know. It's a way for me to give you a couple of minutes to go, oh, okay, we're going to do this now, right? All right, this morning, also we're hearing from Kelly Tidwell. Good morning, Kelly. Henry O'Neill is here with us this morning. They're on Darkins, top of the morning to you as well. Linda Radcliffe and Kirbyville is also up with us this morning. We're also seeing Roshana with us this morning. Good morning to you. Marie Jackson, always good to see you there. Carlene, same to you. And yeah, it is fall. May not feel much like it, but it is. Laura Smith says she's watching from Austin, enjoying the rain and the clouds. I bet you are. There are a lot of places in Southeast Texas that are probably dry. But when you get out towards West Texas and into the hill country, out beyond San Antonio, they're begging for it. I mean, they have been in the middle of a drought, so they'll take whatever rain they can get. And I don't think anybody in Southeast Texas at this point is probably going to be hurt by it either. Darla Pike is watching up at Rayburn Country. Thank you, Darla. Darla, I need to find out something from somebody at Rayburn Country, and it's not weather related. I'm just curious if they ever resolved the issue with the resort where they've opened the golf course, or if it's still closed. Vested interest there. If it quits raining, I'd like to go play golf for sure. Somebody can let me know, I'm sure, what the situation is going on up there. Also, here's one. Deidre Hendry says, watching from Goodway, Alabama. checking on her Texas family. Well, Deidre, we appreciate your dropping by. And again, as far as I know, not really much of a problem. Phyllis Almonds in Sabine Pass. Phyllis, I saw there was a little bit of street flooding going on, not everywhere, but in some parts. I'm assuming that it must be a tidal surge because you guys didn't get that much rain. Looked like maybe a couple of tenths of an inch. Carol watching this morning from Elkhart. Good morning to you. Brenda Escamilla, good morning. Are we flooding here in West Orange? We are flooding here in West Orange. What's that about, Brenda? Because I don't think you guys have got that much rain, have you? That you would be, I'm asking because obviously I'm not there. I have no way of knowing, but I'll certainly check. Lauren Dale is watching over in Lamarck, while Sheridan Thornwell is in Fred this morning. Mary Wolford said, thought I missed you. So you were on a couple of hours ago. I did one this morning. I did a newsroom update, which is a little bit different, very different, to be honest with you, than the at-home update. Obviously, I don't have the comforts of home while I'm at the office, but still, it's nice to be able to do both of them and hopefully keep you as informed as possible. Christine asks, how are we looking as far as rain in southeast Liberty County? Well, if you're asking me for the current situation, I can show you Doppler radar, and we can move it around. But light rain for the most part everywhere this morning, unless you get over into Houston. And again, you get some of those bands going on, you can get some pretty heavy rain coming down. For sure. I watched a little bit of the Houston television stations this morning. And again, they were having a lot of street flooding going on. So my suggestion would be to you, if you had something to do in Houston today, either call and find out the situation from somebody who's already there, or I think that I might just postpone things unless you just absolutely have to. Also this morning, Barbara Nunez says Bolivar Live showing videos of Crystal Beach. And I would have to think, again, you have some tidal action going on. So you probably, 87 is probably, got some water over it. That's kind of to be expected, I think, about what's going on. Again, I'm not the meteorologist. I don't want to pretend to be. This is just observations on my part. So I'm going to encourage you to check in, with the folks who are, and that's what they do. I'm just gathering information from them, and again, observations about what's happening. And I will. Don't worry, I will be corrected if I get to work and they're like, no. But again, you can make your own observations. You can also, as I said, use the tools that are available to you. There's no different than when we talk about don't believe everything that you read on the internet. Go and verify things. So verify what I'm saying by, checking in and watching some of the meteorologists as well. Let's see what some other folks have to say this morning. Allison Roberts says, we're vacationing in a townhouse, which is third row back from the shore at Westside Galveston. Standing water in some areas, but we're high and dry. We have power and water. And I don't know any reason that would necessarily change, Allison, because again, no discussion that I've seen and or heard from meteorologists suggests that there's any chance that this is going to become a hurricane. It's pretty much what it is, which is a tropical storm with top winds 35, 40 miles an hour, which a lot of people won't even notice. And then rain totals that, unless you get underneath one of those training effects, you're talking about essentially 5 to 10 inches of rain. And most of the time we can handle 5 to 10 inches of rain. Doug Eccles says there are also Transtar maps of Vidor and Beaumont. Yes, there are. And I was just looking at Houston mainly, Doug, because that's where I saw the issue this morning. And that's where most of the problems seem to be occurring. And somebody asked again, what's the name of that website? Well, I'm not only going to I'm going to show you so that you can see it. It is Houston Transtar, Transtar. Houston Transtar. And as I said, you can go and see traffic conditions and other places all over Texas if you want to. You can get info that's going on inside, road safety, it's all there. And again, I'm just happen to be on the camera page where you can go in and look. And again, you can go in and not just look at these cameras, but you can also go in and look at cameras all over, including Southeast Texas. All right. But again, Transtar is TRANSTAR. Transtar is where we're at this morning for these cameras. And again, just a good one to bookmark. Anytime you've got weather going on, you can go to those places just like KFDM.com, and you know that you have Doppler radar, so you can always check in there. Hey, do me a favor if you're watching this morning and you don't mind, you've got the time, would you mind giving me just a really quick thumbs up, a like, or if you're not liking, you can give me a frown face or whatever. It's just a way for me to be able to see that you're there and you can acknowledge the fact that you're here. And then again, doesn't ever hurt to be able to show the powers that be. Just Google Transtar, Houston Transtar cameras. It will come up. Says Paula. Not many cameras set up in Jefferson and Orange County. You're right. And most of them are on the interstate and 69. That's pretty much what you're going to get when you go to Transtar in this area. But again, lots of questions. Carol Guidry, are we going to have flooding like Houston? Carol, there's no way that I would guess that. If you're asking me, do we have flooding at this point? Then the answer would be no, we don't. Do we have water on some roads? Sure we do. We got some rain. And you're always, anytime you get rain, you're going to have water on the roads. Now, is it, something that you can't get through? No, that shouldn't be a problem. Miranda Fulbright, husband works in Sabine Pass and the road going in was flooded yesterday morning due to the surge. I think you're right. I think Dana told me this morning high tide was 6:30 a.m. So if that helps you. And that's when you're going to see, right, the fluctuation going in and out is when the tides are coming in and or going out this morning. Also, of course, don't forget, when we're talking about cameras, I do want to remind you, and let me take you back there real quick. KFDM, we have cameras as well that you can go and look at. And you can find them under weather. You can find them on the WeatherNet, which is a place that you can go and you can see all of our WeatherNet stations. And this is kind of cool because when you use the map, you can check on what all the temperatures are. You can go and see the various, it gives you, Google's having a hard time loading this. There we go. But you can see at Kuntz Elementary, you can see all the current conditions, temperature, humidity. I mean, these are tools that obviously meteorologists use all the time, but you as a layperson, I as a layperson, also have access to these. And hey, why should we not use them if they're available, right? And Justin Johnson is just reminding us when we're talking about cameras, he gives you a link there if you want to use the camera over at the Lecture Theater. We have 5 cameras now that if I can remember them right. We have one at Sabine Pass. We have 2 in Mid-County, we have 1 in Orange, and we have 1 in Beaumont. And you can go and look at all those. You don't really have access to move them around, but you can go and look at all of those if you want to. Emily Francois says, can you tell me when we in Port Arthur will be affected? Emily, I can't even tell you if you're going to be affected, much less when. Again, my best suggestion is that you stay tuned to KFDM and KBTV Fox 4 to Greg and Chad and Dana, and they will keep you up. And if there's something that becomes an issue, we're going to post it. We've been doing this for more than 60 years, keeping people appraised of the weather. And I think that I feel like we've done a pretty good job of trying to make sure that we're as accurate as possible. Some people will say, you talk about it a lot, but you have to also remember, we're a medium and a media where a lot of people are coming in and going out on a regular basis, just like on this Facebook Live. People who started here, let me see how long we've been doing. We've been running 20 minutes now. I guarantee you there are a lot of people who are not still watching that started 20 minutes ago. They got their information and they're gone. We understand that. So we try to cycle things around to make sure everybody gets a chance to grab the information that they need before they get out the door. Judith Sterling this morning says, I just want a good cold front. Me too, Judith, for a couple of reasons. 1, I'm ready for some cooler temps. But 2, if we can get that water temp down at the Gulf below 80 degrees, then we don't have to track tropical depressions and or hurricanes or tropical storms. It's another good reason that we'd probably like to see another cold front. All right, when is the worst? This is a valid question. Debbie Van Nordstrand White says, when is the worst expected in Beaumont? But I'm going to answer this truthfully. I don't know. if I were looking at it, you and I could probably both make some assumptions about when we thought that might be happening. But I can't tell you. And again, I'm not going to pretend that I can. I'm going to point you back over to KFDM.com. Again, there's Doppler radar. Let me also show you. It's always good to freshen things up. You just hit the button at the top. It looks like an arrow spinning around. That refreshes the radar, right? So now you've got the latest images. And on this, and it's probably going to freeze me out the same way. Nope, there we go. See the icon there at the bottom? If you push that arrow and then you come back up, watch what happens. It's going to take a couple of seconds, but it will build a slideshow and or a movie, if you will, and it will actually put it into motion so that not only can you see it, you can see which direction it's going. You may be going, oh, that's going to hit Beaumont. Well, no, it's not, but it's getting orange pretty good right now. But you can also see these bands feeding up from the Gulf that are again heading into Houston and now moving a little bit further to the east. So I would suggest that if you want to know when the worst is going to hit Beaumont, that again, you stay tuned and they will always be updating this 24/7. Somebody is, I love this, ever since we started doing the at-home things, I've tried to change paintings. I don't know if you can see it, but I have things that are stacked in the back. I intentionally don't like that quite as bright as I used to. But there are mugs and there are different things. And somebody always notices something that you don't. Somebody, look at this one. Somebody says, Edgar says, digging your vintage wooden ladder in the back. Well, Edgar, if I told you that went up into my attic, would you believe me? Or that, hey, I have a bookshelf that's so tall that I have to go up that ladder. No, you wouldn't, because it doesn't. It's the ladder to nowhere, to be quite honest with you. But thanks for noticing that it is back there. Somebody else asking a valid question. John Sangwin says, do you think the ferry service to Galveston will remain closed through tomorrow? Again, just a guess on my part, John, I would say yeah, just because this thing's not moving fast enough. And again, when we go back to the radar, you can see for yourself, put the ferry landing in there, which is right where their storms are coming across right now, down at the Bolivar. Wouldn't be surprised. I think the only way you're going to know is just to stay tuned. You can go to their website, state's website, and you can check on the ferry schedule. And that's probably going to be your best bet to know for sure. But if we're just guessing, you would kind of think that might be the case, right? All right, so what else do we have this morning that I need to impart on you during our update? We've done our best to keep you up to date on what's happening with the tropical weather. Oh, I was just a couple other stories that I just hit you with. Obviously, this is the number one story of concern that's going on with us this morning. I saw this one. I think it's an interesting story. I'll just throw this out there if you're looking for something to read while you're sitting there watching the rain come down. It's on the Texas Tribune. It says, as Texas college towns emerge as coronavirus hotspots, universities try to keep students from infecting locals. It's a really interesting story about, how do you do that? How do you keep, students from going out into the population that may be more vulnerable than them? Almost impossible. And I'm going to leave you with another story that is similar, I guess. And that is, I'm watching last night. I'm not watching the NFL. I'm not really watching college football these days. I will. I think, eventually I'm sure I will. I'm going to, for those of you who don't know, I also do play-by-play football and basketball on television for ESPN Plus, among others. So yeah, I'm usually a college football fiend and I watch a lot of it and try to stay up with what's going on in college basketball. But I've kind of lost interest with all the things that are going on. It's just that hasn't been on the top of my list. There have been other things to pay attention to, but I will get back to it. But last night, couldn't help myself flipping around. And what you have now is that you have a brand new stadium in Vegas, right? And Las Vegas, because the Raiders are now playing in Vegas. So I thought, well, I want to see what the stadium looked like. So I went and watched, and I'm like, first of all, it doesn't make any sense. Coaches wear masks, players don't. Aren't the players the ones that are bumping up against each other, smashing each other, laying on top of each other in piles? But the coaches are on the sidelines. And here's the thing. The coaches really aren't wearing the mask for the most part. To the point that the NFL has now fined coaches $1 million in fines. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell fining coaches for mask violations you can't let up. So you look on the sideline, I'm sorry, but a chin strap is not a mask. Fined. He was fined. So that's going on as well. Again, it's just an observation. It's like, I don't know, some things these days you look at and you go, okay, how is that supposed to work exactly? All right, Jenny Green is with us this morning. Hang on just a second. I have to read these comments. Okay, Mike Cherry says, it has been reduced to a depression. Well, and that may be, Mike, I haven't had a chance to go back and look again, but I assure you that if I go on Facebook, if it's a depression, that it has probably been updated there, and I've been talking to you for the last 20 minutes. But I can tell you this from experience, you can still get as much rain out of a tropical depression as you can out of a tropical storm. Of course, storm has to do with the amount of winds that are being generated by that particular thing. So I'll check, and you very well may be correct that it has been downgraded to a depression. All right. All right. So there we go. I think we got pretty much everything out there this morning. Again, best thing to do. Somebody is asking, will school be canceled? No, I wouldn't bank on school being canceled because, again, you're not talking about anything significant enough that it's going to, create major problems unless something changes. 10 inches of rain in southeast Texas over 4 or 5 days, we can get 10 inches in a day. And for the most part, we keep functioning. We have in the past. Not saying that I want that. I'm just saying that for the most part, we can do that. So I'm not sure that there would be any reason. But monitor your school district. Go to their websites. Go to their Facebook pages. Never say never, because anybody who's lived in the tropics long enough knows that you just can't take your eye off of things and you can't make any assumptions. Somebody else was asking about tide surges. And again, I'm going to defer to the meteorologist to talk about that. At this point, I know that Galveston has had some issues, but if you go and look at Galveston, the majority of Galveston, here's Crystal Harrison. She says, Galveston is flooded and the ferry is closed as of right now. I think, Crystal, more accurately, it would probably be parts of Galveston are holding some water, but certainly not all of Galveston. So if you're maybe down by the seawall, if you're in part of the beaches that are unprotected, there's a good chance tidal surge, yes. The ferries haven't been running for a couple of days.